Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best gaming motherboard.
Starting at number 5.
Asus TUF Gaming. The primary M.2 slot supports up to PCIe 5.0, while the other two support PCIe 4.0. The primary slot's cooling is relatively small compared to some of the chunky M.2 heatsinks I've seen, including those shipping with the Asrock X670E Pro RS and Gigabyte Z790 Aorus Master. The board supports a single 5 gigabits per second Type-C front connector and up to 2 Type-A and 4 USB 2.0 ports. Not bad, but a 10 gigabits per second Type-C port would have been nice. The VRM is decent, if not spectacular, but it's all relative. Expecting a gazillion 105A stages is something that's restricted to boards at well over double the price. The 12 plus 2-phase design with 60A stages was enough to power my Ryzen 9 7950X without issue. The board includes 4 plus 8-pin CPU power connectors. Asus has done a wonderful job with the TUF B650 Plus cooling design. The big and chunky heatsinks provide lots of surface area while allowing lots of air to circulate freely. Some mid-tier boards can skimp a little on VRM cooling. Here, Asus did not.
Coming at number 4.
Gigabyte X670 Aorus. If you're in the market for a good quality X670E motherboard, the chances are that you've recoiled at the prices of many of them. High-end motherboards are more likely to be X670E models, but the Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite AX comes in with just enough great features at such a reasonable price point that I've been tempted away from the E-model boards. Part of the reason X670E boards cost a lot is because of the high-quality signaling required for both PCIe 5.0 expansion and M.2 slots. But since PCIe 5.0 X16 for graphics cards means nothing right now, an X670 board is a perfectly viable option. And at $289/£349/599 Australian dollars, the Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite AX is a heck of a lot better value than X670E boards. But does the Elite AX have to sacrifice a little or a lot to come in at that price? Here you get effective heatsinks, particularly the VRM1, though sadly Gigabyte opted not to include its excellent finned heatsink design on this model.
At number 3.
Asrock B760MPG. When evaluating a budget motherboard, aesthetics are usually not at the top of the criteria list. The Asrock B760M Sonic Wi-Fi is different. It's definitely a looker. It's still a motherboard, but it's a Sonic the Hedgehog motherboard. Not that that means much if the rest of the board is not up to the job. Looks aside, this little Asrock is an excellent option with a quality feature set that's perfect for an affordable Intel gaming system. The Sonic branding is everywhere. There's a large blue Sonic stencil on the rear of the board, and even the BIOS has a Sonic blue theme. The heatsinks have a brushed metal look, and you get a line of RGBs underneath the bottom M.2 heatsink. The B760M Sonic has a good list of features for a micro ATX board. It's got a PCIe 5.0 X16 slot and a PCIe 4.0 X1 slot. There are 3 PCIe 4.0 M.2 slots, all of which are cooled by simple heatsinks. They're joined by 4 SATA ports. The 4 memory slots support 192 gigabytes of memory, though with the latest BIOS, you even have the option of running 256 gigabytes. Not that many will require that much.
Number 2 of my list.
Gigabyte Z690 Aorus. It was almost inevitable that the top-end chipset for Intel's next-gen Alder Lake CPUs would end up being super expensive. That is compounded by the premium attached to anything which mentions DDR5. Even so, the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro almost bucks that trend by offering a rounded feature set along with DDR5 support for around $330. Sure, in the last CPU generation $300 plus was seen as high-end, but for the 12th gen platform that's positively mid-range. There are cheaper DDR4 boards around. Gigabyte also makes an Aorus Pro in DDR4 flavor, too, though that's not sold in the US or EU, but if you want to get the absolute most out of the new Intel platform you want DDR5. Gigabyte has been smart about the way it's spec'd out the Aorus Pro. By limiting it to just Wi-Fi 6 wireless, as opposed to Wi-Fi 6E, and 2.5G Intel wired networking connections, and eschewing such unnecessary luxuries as Thunderbolt 4 or another M.2 slot, it has managed to keep the price at least relatively sensible.
And number 1.
MSI Mag Z790. MSI's Tomahawk motherboards usually rate highly. They tend to focus on a core feature set rather than the premium tier features common to much more expensive boards. If the bells and whistles don't matter to you, but you still want something capable of driving a demanding Core i9-13900K CPU, then Tomahawk models will probably be on your radar. The MSI Mag Z790 Tomahawk Wi-Fi, as the name suggests, is a part of MSI's MAG range, its second-tier sub-brand. It sits above the Pro range and below the MPG and high-end MEG range. At $319/£337/569 Australian dollars, it's not cheap, though compared to what some premium tier boards are selling for, it's not badly priced at all. There's tough competition from the other vendors in its price range though. Here for review I have the DDR5 version. There's also a DDR4 version should you have a good set of DDR4 memory on hand, though if you need to buy memory too, the DDR5 version is definitely the way to go. DDR4 is very much at the end of its life and the 13th gen platform is almost certainly its last hurrah. The Tomahawk includes support for 4 M.2 drives, though PCIe 5.0 SSD support is missing. Would it be nice to have? Yes, but along with a total lack of PCIe 5.0 drives, the Z790 platform requires an 8x/8x split between the 16x primary slot and the M.2 slot, meaning it's not something that's vital to have at this point in time. A good quality PCIe 4.0 drive will be more than sufficient for years to come, much like a good PCIe 3.0 drive still remains relevant today. Unlike some PCIe 5.0 SSD supporting boards, such as the more expensive Gigabyte Aorus Z790 Master with its massive M.2 heatsink, the Tomahawk doesn't need one, sticking with a low-profile design that doesn't require lots of surface area.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.